On June 5, 2012, a small Russian city called Angarsk became the center of a mystery that shocked the entire country. The police in Siberia were given a strange order. Every officer in Angarsk and nearby cities had to take a DNA test, but no one knew why. The Russian Health Directorate took charge and over 9,400 officers were tested. Everything was kept secret until June 23, 2012, when a shocking announcement was made on Russian TV. The werewolf had been caught. But who was this werewolf? What terrible things did he do that made the police test thousands of people? And how did he escape the death penalty in Siberia's harsh prisons, becoming a famous name that people still talk about today? Tonight, we uncover the terrifying story of one of Russia's most feared serial killers. A man whose crimes were beyond understanding and whose clever escape from justice will leave you stunned. What made him kill? How did he trick the system? And why did his capture shock the whole country? The answers will leave you speechless. The story starts on April 16, 1992, in Angarsk. A local resident reported a woman's body in the forest near the highway. When officers arrived, they found a disturbing scene. The woman, partially clothed, had pale, discolored skin. Investigators concluded she died at 1 a.m. from exposure to cold, though her body showed signs of injuries and stab wounds. Some wounds appeared circular, as if made by a sharp tool. Investigators also noted severe damage to her chest, with tissue missing from the area. The victim was identified as Stasia, a 29-year-old woman last seen alive an hour before her death. Her fiancé had been with her at a bar near her home, but after an argument, they parted ways. Stasia stayed at the bar briefly before leaving. Within an hour, she was dead. At first, it seemed like a random attack, possibly a robbery or fight, but the investigation revealed no signs of robbery or sexual violence. Her money and ID were untouched. If not for theft or passion, what was the reason? 2 weeks later, a second victim was found. Karen Karn, a 24-year-old waitress, had been killed at 1 a.m. This time, the killer used a heavy object like a hammer. Her body showed signs of severe trauma, including multiple fractures. The fatal strike caused critical injuries to her head. The community reeled from the brutality. The killer's pattern grew more alarming with the third victim. A month after Karen's death, another woman, Lauren, was found in a shallow grave. Her head was missing. 5 days later, her head was discovered near a highway, as if the killer wanted to challenge the police. Forensic experts found Lauren's head had been kept in snow, preserving its appearance. The killer had held it for days before displaying it. This act showed his boldness and control, leaving authorities struggling to respond. By 1998, panic gripped Angarsk. The killer, now called the Werewolf of Siberia, targeted women aged 20 to 40 with blonde hair and blue eyes. All were last seen at bars or walking alone late at night. Every murder happened on a Tuesday, with bodies found on Wednesday. The fear grew so intense that by 1998, Angarsk shut down by 7 p.m. every Tuesday. Streets emptied and residents hid indoors, terrified of being targeted. In July 1992, the killer struck again, attacking 2 women at once. Their bodies were found near a highway with severe injuries. One victim's skull was damaged. The other's body was left in an unnatural position. Police began to suspect someone with insider knowledge, even an officer. In 1998, the killer's luck ran out. A 15-year-old girl named Svetlana survived an attack. She was waiting outside a restaurant when a man in a police car offered her a ride, claiming it was unsafe. Trusting his uniform, she accepted, but he drove her to a remote area, attacked her, and left her unconscious. Svetlana was found hours later and taken to the hospital. After 10 days in a coma, she identified her attacker, Mikhail Popkov, a former police officer. Popkov was arrested, but his wife, also an officer, gave him a false alibi. With little evidence, he was released, and the killings continued. Over the next decade, more women were found dead under similar circumstances. In 2012, a victim named Victoria, a sex worker, had secretly recorded her encounter with the killer. The audio matched Popkov's voice. Combined with DNA evidence from crime scenes, he was arrested and charged with 60 murders. At trial, Mikhail Popkov confessed to killing at least 78 women between 1992 and 2010. All victims matched a profile: blonde hair, blue eyes, and often seen at bars. As an officer, Popkov used his job to gain trust. He lured victims into his car, drove them to remote areas, and attacked them. He claimed he was cleansing society of women he deemed immoral, a mindset tied to his troubled upbringing. His mother worked in the sex trade and often left him alone, fueling his resentment. In 2015, Popkov received life in prison, avoiding Russia's death penalty. His case remains a stark example of how authority can be misused. This is beyond the crime. If this story gripped you, like, share, and subscribe for more true crime content. Let us know your thoughts. Do you think justice was served? Thanks for watching, and here is another mysterious crimes you can watch.